I'm now going to introduce Michael Koehn. It's a great pleasure. I've known Michael for a little bit now, and immediately impressed by his commitment and his enthusiasm and his vitality and the dedication that he brings to patient care. So it was just a pleasure to be able to be part of this event that he organized and to be able to introduce him now. So Michael Koehn is a registered clinical counselor with over 20 years of experience in applied medical cannabis. In 2008, Michael co-founded the Welcome Back MRI and Pain Management Center, installing Canada's only dynamic multi-positional MRI scanner combined with an interdisciplinary medical assessment and treatment team. In 2012, Michael created Mind Team Solutions Incorporated, a mental health agency that specializes in the complex work of helping motor vehicle accident victims to restore their quality of life and function. Over the last year, Michael partnered with his team of physicians, educators, clinicians, and MCRCI to begin the Cannsolve Clinic, a new medical concept focusing on personalized cannabinoid medicine, cannabis familiarization, and functional formulations to empower patient success. So please join me in welcoming our host and Michael Koehn.
Thank you, Zach. Wow, everybody, thank you for getting to this part of the talk. I get the exquisite privilege of being the last speaker. So while everybody's hungry and tired and has been here for hours dedicated to this cause, I am here to finish things off with a bang. And I know all of you are wondering, well, this is fascinating, all this stuff we've learned. I've been inspired, I've been educated, I've learned all the statistics. I got a really good sense about this cannabis thing, right? Wait, there's one more thing. How do you do this stuff? Like, actually, how do you do it? So how do you start from a patient in front of you saying, I am suffering from the following? And they go through the list. And you take a look at that list and you say, I don't know what to do. It's kind of be a good day for me to be home. But you've got to deal with the situations in front of you, and people often present with really complex situations. And cannabis is unlike any medication we've ever seen before, because every single difference is important. And there are many, many different ways to use and understand cannabis. So when I was tasked with trying to stand here in front of you and help an educated group like yourselves who work in the health profession to figure this out, I said, all right, let's get down to the basics. What are the high performance cannabis habits? So in essence, if you could have in front of you all the most successful medical cannabis patients who are winning by their own definition, what are the common habits that you see these people doing in their usage, in the way they conceptualize this, think about this, but really, what are they doing? So I thought I would share with you today high performance cannabis habits. What drives success? And give you a view from the clinic so you can see what we're doing every single day and what we're thinking about. So as we kind of go through this, my background is in interdisciplinary assessment and treatment teams. I put together groups of people just like yourself, and we all sit at the same table, put our heads together and say, how can we help these people? It's been something I've been doing ever since back in 2007. We built the Welcome Back MRI Center, and we realized that when teams of people work together, we can make a tremendous difference in the improvement in people's lives. I also learned mental health was incredibly important, and that if you're trying to treat chronic conditions, and we are ignoring mental health, we are likely to struggle. And today I'm very privileged and very pleased to be doing the types of things that you're seeing here today, where we're advancing research and finding better ways to help people who suffer. The key is that we're promoting what we call eudaimonia. And if you Google that, it loosely translates to human thriving, to see another person as someone who has worth and who matters, and doing what we can to make a difference. All right, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the habit of intention. We're going to talk about the habit of using functional formulas and the habit of congruence. And we'll tie it all together in a way that makes sense, that might help you as you go now out into your world and to think about the applied use of medical cannabis in a new way. All right, let's start with the habit of intention. Now, we all know that we used to use cannabis by rolling a joint and smoking it. Where did we get it from? I don't know. It was in a bag, it was green, you rolled it up, you smoked it, and what did you get? I don't know, some kind of effect because we kept doing it. But the difference was, were we really intentional in what we were doing? Well, the challenge in this is, you've got to know where you start so you know where you're going to end. But actually, traditionally, cannabis has been so stigmatized, and well, quite often it was illegal to produce, that it was hidden away. There weren't labels. There was no ability to understand what was in the bag. People just used it, and they got some benefit from it, so great. But I'm here to tell you that high-performance cannabis users have the habit of intention. These people, when they use cannabis, they don't just grab the bag. They, in fact, are very specific in what they're using and why, because every so-called strain or cultivar is actually its own recipe and has its own benefits. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But also, there's a certain psychological mindset that these particular consumers of cannabis have, and that they don't have results. They generate them. So if a person is going to find that they use cannabis and they have a particular effect from that, it's planned. They actually have a sense of what's going on and how to use the tools in such a way that they have predictable results. Something that was alluded to a little bit earlier with Dr. Mitchell talking about, would you use a medication if you actually didn't really know how it was going to affect you and that it maybe changed all the time? How would you build good medical practice on top of that? Well, the truth is, intentional users take it to the next level by making sure they know. But even with intentional users, cannabis is highly personal. We're learning that you may take the same product, 2 different people will use it, and have very vastly different results. So there's some guesswork, but we should start with what we know and go from there. So let's start with intention. What's this all about? Well, first, let's define an outcome that anybody in this room can have the conversation with anybody, whether you're a medical professional or not. It doesn't matter. But I can talk to any of you about symptom management, function, and quality of life. In fact, we call this the 3 yes rule. If we're going to institute a new therapy, if it's a particular type of cannabis, I'm going to ask these 3 questions of you right after you've used it. We're going to monitor this, and we're going to say, well, what happened when you used that particular product? What happened to that symptom of pain, of anxiety, of depression, to your mood? Did that improve for you? And if I get a yes, great, next. Well, did you have better function in your day? Did you get more of the things you wanted to get done? One person says, well, yeah, I got to the grocery store, maybe I spent some time with a friend, maybe I cleaned the house. Whatever that means for you, if your function improves, we earn the second yes. And if the first 2 are yeses, chances are number 3 is similarly going to be a yes in the quality of life. If you can manage your symptoms and you can do more of the things you want to do, you probably have that better quality of life. All right, agenda alignment. Where's the resistance? If you're ever talking to a patient and you're saying, there's this therapy, might be useful for you, this medication, and you see that they kind of turn away from you, and you keep talking and you're actually not talking to them anymore, you're talking at them, what's happened is you have resistance due to a problem with agenda alignment. What is it they want? You've got to find out what that is, because often as well-intentioned health professionals, we put forth the agenda. And it's critically important in this. We don't want to have resistance. Check yourself. Is it your agenda or theirs, or some mix of both? A consistent commitment. Is this sustainable? Is this something that we can actually do today, tomorrow, the next day? Because if it's not, what are we doing? We're setting up something that's great for today, but something that's not going to be very functional unless it has this consistent commitment. And that is one of the key things about medical cannabis that is poorly understood. We need to be consistent. The old school way of grabbing a bag with something green in it does not provide consistency for us. So sustainability, very, very important. Power of intention works like this. Without it, we're pushing uphill. We're squandering medical resources, professional time, effort, energy, burning out caregivers, leading to an avoidance to want to treat people who suffer. So the power of intention puts the agenda back in the patient's eyes. You're informed, you go alongside them, and now you're not pushing uphill. You're saying, You push, I'll push with you. All right, let's talk a little bit about functional formulas. This is the actual practical part of what's actually the mix. Two things. You need an appropriate product, and you have to have an appropriate administration method. The right ingredients, that's your product, and the recipe. How do you combine those ingredients to consistently generate the results that you need? Now, both are essential. So, what's an appropriate product? Thank goodness, these days, we have licensed producer cannabis, like the wonderful stuff that we see coming out of Tilray. This is measured, lab tested, lawfully sourced, and matched to symptoms with supply security. So our LPs are our primary source, but cannabis stores are going to be opening. Kamloops, the pioneer in the entire province, and soon pharmacies. Also, patients that have ACMPR grow licenses from Health Canada, they also have a lawful means by which to grow their own. So we want to put a little nod to that. So a brief example there. Tilray 125 oil for effects upon anxiety, mood stabilization, and pain relief. I know what's in the bottle. I know what it can do. I know how to apply it. I understand it because it's an appropriate product. Administration. Now, how do you use this thing? Consistent, measured, accurate, reproducible. We're not rolling a joint. Half of that is burned up in smoke literally and gone, and we have no idea what we're actually taking in. So for example, once again with an LP standard, I can take this Tilray 125 oil, I can start this at a quarter of a mil, I can titrate it up 0.1 mil every 2 days until I get to a 1 mil dose. You know what, for sensitive folks, I can get a micropipette. I can take that dose and I can break it down fractional because this medicine is consistent. It's something I can depend upon, rely upon, and also help that person reach their agenda. Next, be very, very careful with chronic conditions. These are the folks that have the least tolerance for change. Often they've been through the gambit, and you know what? They've heard it all. So now, use patience. Fill the cup slowly. The first impression sets the tone. At our clinic, we build a cannabis environment. We do it slowly. We take our time. Where we'd rather you said, Michael, I'm not feeling anything. I'd say, great. That's an excellent treatment response. I'm so thrilled. You're getting no response whatsoever that you can perceive. Why? Because there's an absence of adverse events in that situation. The adverse event is you're mad at me because you said that didn't work. But you know what? By the time we titrate the dose, you will reach the right dose. You will do so in a way that is comfortable while managing and mitigating any of the potential side effects. So be patient. Take your time. It will come at the 1 month mark when you say, if you're not really noticing much, should we just stop it? And they go, nope. Well, you don't notice much. Why don't we stop it? Nope. Okay, so you're noticing something? Maybe. Okay, so people are often a little bit hesitant to admit that they're getting some benefit from cannabis, particularly if you're using CBD. It can be subtle, but powerful. All right, real clinical pearls here. Match your symptoms to the duration of relief. Gaps promote instability and they distort your clinical feedback. So now, if you think, well, this person has pain. When do they have pain? 24 hours a day. Well, when do you treat them with cannabis? I don't know, we take 1 dose of oil a day. But don't you have pain 24 hours? Yep. What's your duration? We treat for 8. Well, what do you do the other 16 hours? I complain that cannabis doesn't work. Well, of course, you're actually not taking it during that time, so let's match the product to the time frame. Oils onset a little bit slowly, but last a long time. Vaporization is like PRN. Give it to me now. Peak plasma levels in about 3 minutes in the blood. We're now getting those immediate, quick gains that we can have. So really, really useful. And then if you're using topicals, well, it's pretty variable. So put it on. Let's see where we get to with it and work your way your dosage with that. But primarily with oils, mainstay like an extended release formulation. Dry flower is your PRN. Give it to me now. I need the effects and the benefit. Restore the locus of control to the patient and let them feel like they have a sense, I can do this. And when you get the feedback, you can better understand your recipe. Did I get the right mix? Did I get the right product? Vaporization will give you very rapid feedback. Prioritize your CBD. Modulate the psychoactive response to THC. That is the #1 adverse event. People feel out of their bodies, they feel a bit unreal, and they struggle with this because they think this is supposed to help. CBD provides the shock absorber-like effect on THC and broadens your therapeutic window so that you have an opportunity to be able to dose more effectively without the side effects. So you are going to have a much better time if you first get people standardized on a CBD oil, CBD vaporization. The brain will much better tolerate THC when there's a shock absorber applied first. And if somebody takes too much, inhaled CBD can provide a counteracting-like effect rapidly in 10 to 15 minutes. All right, last habit here, the habit of congruence. What you see is what you get, except when it's not. So for example, any of us who have worked with a population of people in pain, and you would say, all right, what are you seeking? Michael, I want relief from the pain. I say, okay, great, do you act like it? Now forgive me for a moment for being a little bit firm. But when I look to the congruence, I say, well, you would like to treat pain. Great. Do you do the evidence-based things that treat pain? I sit on the couch because I'm in pain. Okay. But I need to know the clinical study that shows me that being sedentary will improve your pain. No? Okay. So the key is, with congruence, medical cannabis folks will match the behavior with the intended outcome. If our intention is to manage pain, we must activate. We must improve function through getting people into not just using cannabis, but cannabis plus what? Cannabis plus activity, cannabis plus some type of therapy, cannabis plus improved sleep, cannabis plus meditation, cannabis plus better nutrition, cannabis plus any evidence-based behavior that will move your patient closer to their agenda-aligned outcome. Remember the one they said they wanted? Well, don't push them, just check them. So how will being on the couch move you towards your goal of being able to spend time with your family? It doesn't, okay? Are we gonna keep doing that? You are? Okay, I know where I stand. Very, very good. Promoting adaptive behaviors. This is the thing, we need to get off the couch, we need to activate. I understand if you suffer. We'll put a plan in place to help you recover from the pain of activation. And make sure you check in with people as you go along. There's nothing wrong with going to a patient saying, listen, I hear you. I understand that you suffer and want to find a better way. But do you act like it? Just pause, feel that, and then say, because if we're not being honest, we're not getting to the truth, then what I'm doing is just saying it's okay to suffer for one more day. Let's conclude this up really quickly, because I know we got to get on with things here. How cannabis is like a job interview. First, if you're going to hire somebody for a job, start with the end in mind. If you need to dig a hole, you probably want to hire somebody who knows how to dig a hole and maybe has some experience for that. So you would arrange a suitable candidate. And what you would do is start with what you know. The licensed producers have spent tremendous time, effort, and money to put together profiles. In fact, Tilray has a profile program that literally spells out for you what they believe might be good starting places for suitable candidates for you. And when you start with that, you can now say, look, instead of 60 products, I want to bring you back to these 2. And now the patient says, I can handle 2. I can't look at 60 of them. Next, we're going to take those 2 medications, we're going to trial them. We're going to monitor your effects, and we're going to promote those that fit, and we're going to fire the rest. Nothing wrong with that, because now we know what's in the bottle. We know what the product is, and we can very quickly move from one that wasn't a fit, for whatever reason, to one that would be a better fit until you find the ones that do the job for your patient. And when they do, this is not like when people are using this outside of a medical context. In a medical context, it is boring. It is the same stuff. It is the kind of thing every day that once it works, lock it down. That's the key. So with that, find what works for you and then continue that self-management with the person's own personal cannabis regimen. In our clinic, people rarely switch once they're dialed in. It's the same thing and it works. All right, I know that we got to get on with things here, so I want to say thank you so much to our speakers. We have Philippe Lucas, Dr. M.J. Malloy, Dr. Ian Mitchell, Dr. Terry Lake. We've got Kelly Inslee, Linda Anderson-Armitage, Dr. Zach Walsh, Bob Hughes, Terry Roycroft, John Beauford, and Randy Tays. Thank you so much to all of you for speaking here today. I'm exceedingly grateful to our sponsors that are helping us to put on this event. It costs money. It's something that's incredibly important, but the fact that we have people to help us pay for these costs means we can keep doing this, providing high impact and make a difference for our health community. So thank you very much to those people. And then as well, these are the people that you maybe don't see or don't know, but they made sure you found parking and you knew which building to go to and made sure we had something to drink. So thank you, Jillian, Luke, Charlie, the other Jillian, Amber, Aaron, Peter, Mason and Jordan, GK Sound, Dr. Nan Stevens, Dr. Florian Fair, Shelley Joyce over at CBC, Angelo Iacobucci at Radio NL, and Dale Bass from Cannabis this week. But you know, the most important thanks goes to all of you, because we had more than 100 health professionals reach out to us and ask to reserve a spot for this. And you got the spots, and many people were turned away. And so the fact that you made a commitment here today to take this time to learn about this and study with our team here means the world to me. I'm grateful to all of you for being here, and I don't want this conversation to stop. We are now part of this community together. We are here for you, and I hope we can work together in our community to make a difference.